Hey, this is Matt. Welcome back to the channel, guys, where I'm going to be talking about Wayne Rooney and his 10-year hair transplant result after his 2 FUE hair transplants. He paid almost £30,000 for both procedures. At least these are documented and publicly known. Maybe he has done another third touch-up. Meanwhile, maybe not. We can speculate. In this video, I also want to talk about why it's not a guarantee that your hair transplant will last the longest time possible if you choose the most expensive surgeon in the world. So the most expensive hair transplant doesn't mean that it's gonna last you the longest time. And in this video, I want to also explain you why and what are some other factors that are gonna impact the longevity of your hair transplant and how it applies to Wayne Rooney as well. So make sure you keep watching, hit that thumb up button right now if you enjoying these updates from me and support my channel that way. Before we start with the video, this video has been brought to you by GoFiber, which are hair building fibers you can use to mask any thinning or patchy areas on your scalp to make your hair look thicker and better. So make sure you check out the link in the video description below where you can visit GoFiber, get a free sample of your choice from them and try them out, see if you like them. Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Good to see you. And if you're new to the channel and you want to learn more about hair restoration, hair transplants, and proper hair loss management, and use these things for making your hair look better, thicker, stronger, and bring your hairline to the next level, then you should subscribe to this channel right now and hit the notification bell. So before we take a look at Wayne Rooney's current hairline in 2021, let's take a look at how he looked like when he was 16 years old back in 2002, and like 6-7 years later in 2009, we can already see him with what seems to be like a solid Norwood 3 androgenetic alopecia progression, if not Norwood 4. And he's like 24, 25 in this photo. And what many guys like about Wayne Rooney is that he was very honest and he was open about admitting his hair transplant back in 2011. Here we can see how his frontal third and mid scalp are already thinning at the age of 24 and 25, which is already pretty solid hair loss progression. Now this is him after his first hair transplant, and what I like is that they chose a pretty conservative hairline. They didn't go too low, they didn't make it straight, they tried to do some micro irregularities. You see these zigzags which are actually placed in a pretty regular manner here, but actually it turned out pretty natural, as you will see later. And what I think, they just tried to dance back his corners, which were like the most receded, and they also kind of redistributed some grafts around the rest of the frontal third and also on the hairline. With this first hair transplant, I don't think that he got more than 2,000 grafts transplanted. Honestly, it may look like it's a lot, but it's not, in my opinion. If we would zoom in more, which I don't think it's possible, you would have seen that only his frontal hairline and corners got dance backed, and the rest of the frontal third, he didn't actually get so many grafts transplanted during the first session, and that's why he got another session, I think 1 or 2 years later, to fill in some patchy areas in his frontal third and mid scalp. This is already the result of his first hair transplant. As you can see, I'm not sure whether this is already 12 months or not. We would need to check better, but it's obvious that the regrowth rate was decent, and he was actually very happy with the result. He stated that several times. Now, I cannot confirm whether he was on hair loss prevention before his hair transplant. I would say he likely wasn't. And after his first hair transplant, he should have already got on like anti-hair loss drug like finasteride or maybe minoxidil. I don't know whether he got or not, but probably not, because already after his first hair transplant, 1 or 2 years later, he got his another hair transplant, and we see it here. You can see how his mid scalp kind of keeps on thinning further, and he gets another hair transplant, which was probably also around 1,500 grafts. This seems to me like a photo after his 2 hair transplants, because the whole mid scalp and frontal third looks actually kind of full, and I don't see any visibly thinning areas. Maybe he's using fibers here, maybe not, but I think that that his hair looks too light in color for this to be covered with fibers as well, because we will see later when he's using fibers, usually it looks much darker, like for example on this image here. This is like definitely a result of concealer or hair fibers, but here I would say it's a result of just his hair being naturally full, and that this is, I think, maybe after his second hair transplant, maybe somewhere between 2013-14. However, in 2016, he was spotted with a visibly thinning mid-scalp and crown after the 2016 European Championships. And what we can see here clearly is the transplanted front, which is not only darker but also denser looking, and this, what you can see here in this red circle, is a result of 2 hair transplants, 2 FUE hair transplants, because I have never seen any sign of a FUT scar on his occipital region, so I would exclude that for now unless I see more convincing photo. Overall, I would say it would be around 3,000, maximum 3,500 grafts, but I would say something around 3,000. And we can see how the rest of his mid-scalp and also crown continue on thinning, and this is his hair situation when he's not using any hair fibers. This is again 2016, and this is another reason why I think that probably he's not on medication. He's probably not using finasteride because if he had used it, I think that his mid-scalp would have looked much more fuller compared to something like it looked in 2012 after his first hair transplant, okay? Now, what is my opinion about Wayne Rooney's 2 hair transplants and how it turned out after 10 years? Well, we obviously see that his mid-scalp and crown are thin, and even his transplanted frontal third seems to look pretty light and thin. I mean, obviously these photos are so ruthless for demonstrating high density of his hairline, because they are like done on the daylight. He's sweating, and it's just bad for making that hairline look full. So that's probably the worst photo you can make, but nonetheless we can see how thinned out that hair looks like in the front. Obviously this is not very good, and this is a sign of him not being on medication for all of these 10 years from the day he got his first hair transplant until today. Had he started with finasteride, or had he been on finasteride for all that time, I'm sure that his mid-scalp could have looked close to this, also today in 2021. But unfortunately, because he wasn't on finasteride for that whole time, or maybe just he started with finasteride recently when it was already maybe too late, then his mid-scalp and crown don't look so full today as they could have looked, So this is something which you can take from him. If you are getting a hair transplant today and you are in your mid-20s, be careful, take that medication seriously, and please be on finasteride. This is the most important thing and the easiest thing you can do for hair loss prevention long term. It's a pill that you take every day. It's so easy to stick to that regimen, and your hair will likely to be saved from further hair loss, or the hair loss will be at least slowed down dramatically if you start early enough. Here we can still see the same balding pattern on his crown, which was also apparent from back in 2016. So actually not much changed since then. So here these areas still seem to look quite thick and dense. And I would also say that he still might have some pretty good reserves in this region for future hair transplants, which could be FUE or FUT, which is still good. I mean, he has done 2 hair transplants, but he's 36, and the 2 hair transplants were not like major ones, let's be honest. But what I want to talk about is also his hairline. I don't know if he has done any touch-up on his hairline, or whether this is his original hairline as a result of his first hair transplant. The hairline actually looks pretty soft. It looks incredibly natural to me, at least from these pretty high resolution, high quality photos. I just really like it. I don't know if he has done any touch-ups there, but obviously he's using hair fibers additionally, but nonetheless the hairline shape and the hairline naturalness is pretty good to me. And this is something that you definitely get with a high quality clinic, where you pay more money, the hairline definitely will look more natural, or it's more likely that the hairline will look more natural as opposed to going to a cheap clinic where technicians are doing most of the job. The doctor doesn't even design the hairline. So obviously this is a plus, but as you have seen also on this photo, there's not going to be a guarantee that your hair transplant will look long lasting or will be long lasting, even if you will pay like crazy amounts of money for it, because once you are not blocking the underlying issue of androgenetic alopecia, which is your hair follicle sensitivity to DHT, if you're not taking finasteride, your hair loss will progress, and the hair transplant, which looked maybe great the first 1 or 2 years, will look weird once the mid-scalp and crown will keep on thinning. So it doesn't mean that if you go to the best surgeon in the world, your hair transplant will look great forever. No, it needs to rely on the support of your native hair. So your native hair needs to look strong, needs to be strong, and for that whole result to look great, for many, many years to come. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. That was it. Make sure you like this video if you enjoyed it to support my channel. Make sure you check out our free Facebook group, Hair Transplant Experiences, with over 3,200 members in the group, where you can exchange your experience with other guys. You can visit my website, mattdominance.com, if you want to support my channel. You can check out one of my hair transplant related guides on how to research your clinic or doctor properly, best hair transplant doctor collection worldwide, best hair transplant doctors in Turkey, which I have researched personally, and 10 out of 14 clinics included in this ebook I visited personally, some of them also multiple times. So they deserve to be on that list for sure. And if you need my personal assistance, you can also sign up for a one-on-one call with me, where I can help you out directly with your hair transplant research, answer all of your questions that you may have on topic of hair loss management or hair restoration, and directly help you with the strategy that you should choose for your first or next hair transplant in order to maximize your hair transplant success. So make sure you visit mattdominance.com/mentoring if you want to be one of the guys that I will be talking to in person. If you decide to do that, I'm looking forward to speak to you in person. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to be seeing you in another video. Take care.